Hey, my
We
Ruben.
have to have
It's hilchos beis habechira, starring
All right.
Rabbi Zion.
Guten Abend. So with the help of Hashem, tonight we will continue Perek Dalid Halacha Vav. So on the page with the pictures, it's Lamed Tes.
Lamed Tes?
Lamed Tes.
With the pictures.
Lamed Ches, we have a tzir that is more or less encapsulates what we learned yesterday. The dimensions, the north to south dimensions and west to east dimensions of the actual building of the Beis Hamikdash. Rambam gave us the interior of the Kodesh and Kodesh HaKodashim, the width of the walls, and the space between the walls, both north, south, and west to east. So now, in Halacha Vav on, the Rambam is going to tell us what these alleys between the walls, what was their function, and other halachas pertaining to this topic. So Halacha Vav says in Rambam, a pishpesh, for who shar hakatan, this pishpesh, which is a small entrance, right? The two says in Rambam, Mushnei pishpashin hoy lahechol, there were two small entrances. Mitzidi hashar hagolosh emtza, that were right next to the main entrance of the Kodesh. So we have the actual structure of the Kodesh, and on either side was an empty space. So echad b'tzafim echad b'darim, one on the north side of the Kodesh, one on the south side of the Kodesh. Shebadarim, this hallway on the left side of the one who's entering the Kodesh. Nobody ever entered that hallway. We don't have the pasuk in the Kovetz, but in Perek Mem Daled Yecheskel writes, Hashar hazeh, Sogur loy yiyeh loy paseach. Only Hashem, only the Eibishter will enter that shar, and Rashi there writes, Lasad Lavim Shechet Kumin, the Shechin is going to enter that area of the Beis Hamikdash. Shevet Tzafin, the alley on the right of the one entering the Mikdash, it's a Beinachnas, and that is the alley that we enter. Mahalech bin Shnei Haksalim walks down the alley. He sees on his left side an entrance to the Kodesh. He enters into the Heichal. Mahalech ad Shar HaGadol v'Pesach. He makes a left. Now he is by the door, the entrance of the Kodesh. Hashar HaGadol, this entrance, why 10 amas until 20. Had 4 doors. Shtaim b'fnim, shtaim b'chutz. 2 facing the one who is standing outside the Kodesh, and 2 facing the one who's standing inside the Kodesh. Hachitzainos, the exterior doors, meaning the doors that are in the vantage point of the person standing outside the Kodesh. Niftachis l'seicha pesach. The hinges would make the doors enter inwards. L'chaseis ovyoy shel kosel, to cover the thickness of the wall. V'hapnimyois, and the walls that were from the vantage point of the person standing inside the Kodesh. They would enter into the actual Mikdash itself, so the back of the doors wouldn't be seen. So both doors would enter inwards. The Sicha Yemis says, the Rebbe talks about this halacha. He tells the entrance of the Ulam, it was huge. It was 40 amos in height, 20 in width, and it was phenomenal. It didn't have gates. Rebbe uses this as a hirah. He say that the Eibusher tells us that we should open a hole, and the Eibusher will open us kepiska shalula. Not like an entrance that has gates, like the Ulam that didn't have gates. The only we have a hero tshuva to come close to the Eibusher gives us the whole package with no blockages. There were 5 finely designed beams of wood, top of the entrance of the entrance to the Olam. This 20 by 40. So the width of this entrance is 20 amas. That gives us that the first beam on top of the entrance is 22, because it extends beyond the width of the entrance, 1 amma on each side. Right, but extend, each one on top extends an amma beyond on either side.
like this.
That's a good image. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Nitzis Halyena Shlish Mama that gives us that the length of the top beam, top of the entrance of the Ulam, is 30 amos in length. The Nidbach Shel Avanim Hoya Ben Kol Achas V'Achas, between each matera, each designed piece of wood, there was a row of bricks. Lachatas Ha'Hechal Hoya Benyoni Rachav Milafanov B'Tzar Me'Achidav K'Mayari. So the image Rambam gives us of the building of the Beis Hamikdash is wide from the front and it narrows in at the back, like the image of a line of an Ari. Even though the Rambam in the previous page told us it's 100 by 100, which is a cube, 100 by 100 by 100. Nevertheless, it gave us the impression that it was narrowing in at the back. You know, the Bavus the Gemara, Al Ariel, the Mazel Ariel, the Hichivis Ariel, Amnashiyave Ariel, the Mazel Ariel, the Ibnis Ariel. Ariel is Nebuchadnezzar, came in the month of Av, the Ariel, and he destroyed the Ariel, the Beis Hamikdash, because it looked like a line. Now, this Kaisel HaMesiba was the most outward alley within the most outward hallway in the structure of the Beis Hamikdash. Along the walls of this outside hallway, there were protrusions extending from the wall. The low protrusion was 5 amas extending from the wall. The extension that was on top of it extended out 6 amas. Then there was a space where there was again a protrusion of 6 amas, and the one on top that extended 7 amas. Learning this out from the Psukim in Malachim. Makifin Abayis, Mishloisha Ruchoisov, Bechain Saviv, Bekosli Ha'ulam, Milamata Ad Lamaila. We have the image, it's much easier to understand.
Yeah.
Again, the picture that Rambam gives us is different than what we're used to. Like we have the T shape. Right? But the Rambam gives us a cube, and around the walls, we have these yitziyim, these extensions that came off the wall. Okay, Kachoyu, Ama Achas Cholak Vrevet Shalish Amis. These revadim would surround all the walls. In each revad was an amma. Fine. Now, what this means is as follows: is that the outside, it's been difficult to experiment with that an image. So this is a good picture. What we have is we see the wall, not the yitziyas. These are the yitziyas, extensions inside the Beis Hamikdash. The actual facade of the building was jagged. It wasn't straight like a wall, right? Because it's empty. You can see like the bricks aren't it doesn't make a flat wall because in and out. So it made this formation. Now all the spaces going back inside the building of the Beis Hamikdash, all these empty spaces are called toim, chambers, lockers. Nimtzu atoim hamukafim lamikdash chamishu min hatzafen. We have 5 hallways from the north side. We have chamishu min hadarim, 5 toim on the southern side. Shloshim min hamayrev, and 3 on the west side. Shalish diutais hayu diuta gab diuta, the 3 floors. Nimtzu tasvav toim bedarim chamisha gab chamisha v'chamisha gabim, gives a total 15 at the south, 3 times 5. V'chein betzafen chamisha, so total 15 at the north. When we came to the back, with a total of 8. Even though the bottom row was 3, it says in Amam, Shloisha gabi shloisha v'shnayim agabehem. It's not 3 times 3. It's 3 and 3 plus 2. We do ta'achas, akel, some total of lamed chestoim, 38 blockers. In Aleph, shloisha psachim, hoyu l'kolechad v'yachem in hatoim. With 3 entrances, with each ta, with each room. Echad l'ta min hayamin, one from the position of the person who's entering the tar, meaning the entering door, the exiting door into the tar beyond where he's standing, going forward. And a hole in the roof. There was a stair that went through. Now, the Mefarshim have a very difficult time understanding this part of the halacha. In the northeastern side, there's Batash B'Dyutahem Tzois. In the middle tar was Hayu Chamisha Pesachim, had 5 entrances. Echel Tar Miyamin, 1 to the tar on its right side, meaning all the way to the north. V'echel Tar Shel Gabov, 1 to the tar on top. V'echel LaMesiba, it was on an angle. Interesting, it was an angle all the way to the Mesiba that was flush with the actual building of the Kodesh. V'echel Tar Sheyesh Boi HaPishpesh, 1 to the Pishpesh. So the Mesiba wasn't the Pishpish is the one that's next to the Kodesh. The Mesiba is the one that's one away from it. Vech lahechel, one that actually entered the hechel. Do we have an image of this one?
Five.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
And this is inside.
One entered Mesiba, which was right the ramp that went around. Okay.
What does it mean that there was entrances to the Tayan?
Oh, so imagine a room, a square room. One entrance is the entrance that you're entering through. The second entrance, what's an exit, is
This means to get to the lockers.
it was a big room. That's what it means. It's like a cube.
So
It's like a
where
cube
the
room.
room was, there was three.
Yeah.
3 entrances where that room of the lockers were.
So one would be entering the room, one would be exiting the room, one would be in the roof.
These lockers.
What's a fish fish?
Pishpesh is an alley. It's like an alley, yeah. Weiter befnim. Noch it beis. Mesiba. There was a mesiba haisa oile. It was like a ramp, an inclined area that would ascend. Mikeren mizrachas fenis from the northeastern side. Lakeren fenis maravis to the northwestern side. Shabam, that ascent, hoyo oilum lagagas hatoim, they would ascend to the roof of the time of these rooms. Hoyo oilum b'mesiba, he would ascend that ramp. Upon of Lamaidev, whilst facing west. Holach is called Pnei Hatzaf, and he would walk along the entire northern side of the Kodesh until he reaches the end of the hallway. Yigil Lamaidev, Hafach Pan of Ladan, he would make a left, face south. Holach is called Pnei Hamaydev, he would walk all the way down south. Until he reaches the end of the hallway. Yigil Ladanim, he reaches the end of the southern hallway. Hafach Pan of Lamizrach, he faces east. By Mahalach Ladanim, he would walk along the southern side facing east till he reached the entrance of the second story. Because that is how one would be able to access, would be a ramp that would go up, and where it would end at the top of the ramp would be the entrance to the second story. You know, there were 2 stories in the Beis Hamikdash.
Was there a ramp on the west side?
The ramp was on the northeast side.
Yes.
Imagine this is the Mikdash. It started over
on
here.
The, on the north side?
It began going up.
And then on the west side, on the south side.
So it would go up over here on the north side.
Yeah.
And then turn around.
Yeah,
Right,
go
go
to
up.
Maida
Yeah.
and come there and then
Go up.
Right.
It has a picture. The picture seems to show that it went up on the west side also.
No.
Each side is going
West
up.
side went straight across.
Did
West
you-
side went
you
straight
see
away,
it?
and then
it
it
goes
goes
up.
up.
Yeah.
We're looking at the same
It
picture.
goes up
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Slight elevation,
Slight
but the main
elevation, yeah.
elevation was there.
I got
Straight.
already made a major, minor.
All right.
Okay.
Good.
But it does seem that it has an issue. Okay.
Okay. Weiter Lochit Gimel. The Pisra Shel Aliyah. For the entrance to the second story, Hoyu Shtei Klon Sois Shel Erez, the 2 beams of wood, Shubehen, Oilen Lagaga Shel Aliyah, that they would actually ascend, use it as a ladder of sorts to ascend to the actual second story. The Rashi Pispesin, Hoy Mavdinim Ba'aliyah, the Gaga Kedesh, Lagag, Kedesh HaKadoshim. Right? Just like on the lower story, we have the separation between the Kedesh and Kedesh HaKadoshim with the Amathic wall. So too in the second story, if somebody was standing on the top floor, they would see something jutting out from the wall that would tell him, you cannot walk forward. This is where the Kedesh HaKadoshim begins. The Lulin, Hoy Psuchin Ba'aliyah, the base Kedesh HaKadoshim. Now there were holes in the roof, and there was an aperture that they could descend into the Kedesh HaKadoshim from the second floor. Shebahen, through that aperture, Mishal Shlinis Homonin, the Teves, they would lower craftsmen in boxes, sort of a wee, like an elevator.
Places.
So that the eyes don't feast the Kedesh HaKadoshim. There's a certain Kedusha, we have to be very careful even when it comes to Kedusha, not to absorb too much that we're not supposed to absorb. Once a year of Pesach, they would, or after Pesach, they would plaster over the Heichel again to give the nice white look. Plaster over the Heichel again. Okay. Yasher Koyach. Fantastic. Okay. No, make a seal on Perek Dalet. Fantastic.
Beautiful, Mr. Kayak.
Okay.